Hey guys, sorry about that. The levels are spiking now, so I didn't notice that.
Fun times.
Oh, we'll have to check the previous video, and if not, then this will be a short upload. And
Sound is good. Okay.
all right.
Thank you, Navi.
So, yes, Caduceus and the Wild Mother, Ford,
Yes.
talking about what's going to happen. Caduceus's misgivings. Bo and Caleb's chat we talked about. Bo's.
Yeah. Looks like we're only off for about 2 minutes, so.
Okay. Yeah. I was upset with myself on my rewatch retroactively because I didn't catch Matt's foreshadowing because Ford gives Caduceus advantage. He rolls 25 or 26, and Matt says, "You hear movement." Like a gelatinous kind of movement, kind of. And I didn't catch that on my initial watch. On my rewatch, I was like, that was the first hint.
Yep.
But yeah. And then they start talking about, we're going to tie ourselves together. And my first watch, I'm like, that's never going to happen. Every time a party ties themselves together, unless they're on a vertical situation. Right. But every time it's a horizontal movement, we're tying ourselves together, somebody always cuts the rope. Always. And that happened here too.
Yep.
So, and also the conversation was, oh, yeah, so everyone has rope. Everybody has rope. Burglars pack, diplomats pack, scholars pack,
priest pack,
don't have rope.
Yep.
So yeah. Also, why, like, and maybe this is just me, but like, I would be yelling at the person who cut the rope. Because we have that length of rope for a reason. Yeah. But they Frumpkin, he sends Frumpkin out to scout.
Yes.
As he normally does. I don't believe vultures have dark vision.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I think it would have heightened the tension, especially because Liam said, "Oh, he has advantage on sight and smell," and he rolled again because his first roll wasn't very good. I think it would have heightened the terror for Matt to give him the narration of, "Hey, Frumpkin smells dead bodies, iron."
Yeah, iron rotting flesh.
Yeah. I mean, 6 of one, half dozen the other. The familiar's job is to scout. It scouted. They could just as easily have, Caduceus cast light on a rock, and Frumpkin held in his claws and flew.
Yeah.
Would have accomplished the same thing.
Yeah.
From a resources standpoint, not a big deal. From a narrative standpoint, not necessarily a big deal. It's allowing Matt to foreshadow what's coming up.
Yeah.
To give them some idea. Ford asks for someone to hold his hand, and I think Talison's like, "Oh, I'm sure Jester would." So Ford's like, all right, yeah, I hold Jester's hand and touch the bridge. And Matt's like, okay, I need you to roll nothing. It's cold. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
And a nice start to the thing. Not asks for the suit that Beauregard has.
Yeah.
And there was a sort of a murmur around the table about, wait, what? We have that? I think Not's gonna get her hands on that. But I was surprised that neither Ford nor Caleb offered the liquor like a Scooby snack. Because that was the whole time I was just like, she just needs her Scooby snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And single, as we mentioned up top, single check pass without a trace. They were going against the passive perception of the gibbering mouther.
Yeah.
And the single failure set it off. I didn't check the stat block on what the passive perception was.
Yeah.
And whether or not Matt changed it.
Yeah.
Because in theory, something that big, if it's all one thing, probably has a higher passive perception.
Yeah.
Or at least has advantage because it's so big. But yeah. And then the Roper was great.
Yes.
Blessing of the Trickster versus Bless.
So, I don't think that was necessarily Travis's fault. And here's why.
Okay.
When she is there, a lot of times Laura says, I bless you, you have advantage on stealth. And I use my blessing of the Traveler. She does say that sometimes, but it's about 50-50.
Yeah.
And I think she said, bless Caleb so he has advantage on stealth. And he said, you get blessed so you have advantage on stealth. And Taliesin heard bless. Bless doesn't work like that. It's this, pick 3 people.
As helpful as he was in the search for Bob with helping Ashley remember level 20 cleric stuff.
I think it was more of a game of telephone, literally.
Yes. Yes, literally. And Travis did say, I think that's user error.
Yeah. But I don't think it was. I think it was just miscommunication. Because she told him one thing, he relayed it. Taliesin heard another, corrected it for that. He went with it. Matt made the call based on what was decided. She said, no, that's not what I meant.
I love it. He's like, she's calling. It's like,
and so,
and she must have been yelling.
Yeah.
Now the microphones couldn't pick it up, but it was loud enough that Marisha and Matt heard it.
Yeah. So I think that one is a chalk up to no one specific's fault.
Yeah.
The next one is 100% Travis's fault. When your sick wife tells you to do something with her character, do not opt for the safe choice. Just do what your sick wife wants you to do with her character.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and Matt was about 5 seconds from intervening there.
Yeah.
Because, and this is why Laura and Sam are in tight contention for MVP for me in this episode.
Same.
Is because Laura was on, she's like, pass without a trace, blessing of the trickster, needs to get done. And that apparently was sent or discussed before the episode started.
Probably, yeah.
And that saved them big time.
Yes. There would have been a lot more walking off the bridge.
Yeah.
Had that not happened.
Or them attacking each other.
Yes.
for sure. And Sam's role playing was on point the whole night, and the that moment where Travis is like, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? You received the launch command and you're not. It's like, nope, not turning the key.
Yeah.
And then I could tell Matt was like 5 seconds from intervening. He's like, wait, she told you what to do and you're not gonna do it?
Yeah.
And
it's
he's like, no, she said if, and then he obviously got a text and he's like, no, she said do it. Okay. Yeah.
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 So I mean, and I get where Travis was coming from. He thought it was a bad idea, and on the surface it looked like a bad idea. It's something I would have done with my character, but I tend to do a lot of bad ideas that are calculated risks in my mind.
Yeah.
But they're not things I would do with someone else's character if I was Jaeger.
Yeah.
And you never want to be the one that'd be like, yeah, you trusted me with your character and I got it killed. Here's your sheep back.
Yeah.
I get where he was coming from. But at the same time, if you were Jaeger in my character and I said, hey, go ahead and do this. This is what I want to do. I'm not holding you responsible if the character dies. That was my call.
Yeah.
Now, if you make a call and I didn't give you instruction one way or another and you kill it, then that's on you.
Yeah.
But if I gave you the instruction to do it, you're in the clear.
Yeah. And like another reason, well, so one of the things that I thought was interesting, and this is talking from an encounter mechanics design standpoint, is to ensure that the gibbering mouther hit them at least once. Matt said, middle of the bridge, you have disadvantage on the stealth check.
Yeah. And it makes sense for a chain bridge.
Yeah. Well, and so my interpretation of Matt's description, or if I was going to build a bridge like this, and the point of it was to make noise, those steps would not be connected to one another.
Right.
And that bit was unclear in the narration. But having each one independent of the other increases the likelihood that they're going to bump into each other, that they're going to be twisting, that there's just going to be a lot of noise.
Yeah.
But Jester pulls Bo up when she walks off the bridge. Not loses her shit 3 times, I think.
Yeah. Giving herself and occasionally the person who tries to calm her down disadvantage.
We also learned that Yasha is scarier for not in whatever situation they're in.
Well, again, if you're constantly berating someone, attacking them, throwing shit their way, and they're a barbarian, you should be scared of them.
Yeah. Ford gets greedy, wants to search the things. Caduceus placates him by casting Detect Magic, and unfortunately sees that there's magic in the right one. Then there's a whole B plot of Frumpkin going out there.
Yeah.
Frumpkin never testing wisdom. To Liam's credit, he did ask once if Frumpkin should be. Matt never answered, and Liam didn't press the issue.
Which is what I would have done.
Yeah. But there's the broken step that Not sees. And that was one thing that that was the one thing I thought was a little unfair in what Matt did. Because the point of a rogue's abilities is to be able to be stealthy, move at the same pace as everybody else normally,
Mm-hmm.
and check for traps.
Yeah.
With that move, bonus action, dash, action, proceed.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that would slow you down a bit, and that has 5 extra feet of movement a turn. So yeah, that was the one thing I was like, well, yeah. I don't think it did anything though in the grand scheme of things.
See, and while I agree with what you just said, to me it was more of because of where they were at on this noisy chain bridge, to both focus on not upsetting the bridge and check for traps. I think it was circumstantial to that bridge.
It's fair. But Frumpkin landing in the cages,
yeah,
kicks the initiative off with the roper. And another bit of great design, using a monster they've seen before in a situation they haven't been in,
yeah,
where the roper's lifting them up.
Yeah,
was great. But they burned a lot of high-level spells getting across that bridge, and a lot of low-level spells.
Yeah.
And after the fight in the mirrors, Caduceus admits that he's all but tapped.
But that was kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
From a DM standpoint.
Yeah.
I either get creative and get across, or blow your load and have to get creative at the end.
Yeah. Frumpkin does get the loot, though.
Yes.
Turns out to be a whip we know nothing about yet. And Travis yelling at Sam over what Knot was doing for the break. But Oban.
Yes.
Jester also is asking about footprints. In the room. And that's the other reason why Lauren has my MVP vote. We don't know that he got through that door.
Yeah.
As we mentioned before. Yeah. Ford thanks the Wild Mother.
Yeah.
But he couldn't get the mirror in the dagger dimension. That's why, or the mirror dimension, the dagger from the mirror dimension. That's why I say he might be a vampire. Okay. Grab that, guys.
So yeah, he did that. Oban. So we've got the worm. I think the worm maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's the Crawling King or Yinegu, the Null Demon God, because it is the Undying Laughter thing. But they're going over there. I think Oban is one of the 3 warlocks. If you remember back when we talked about Ukatoa, I said, the 3 guys, there's a warlock of each type, Pact of the Tome, Pact of the Chain, Pact of the Blade. Going back, he may be one of the 3, and I was thinking, well, if the Luxon is the Phoenix that we saw, Essek might be one of the warlocks for that. Probably Pact of the Tome. So I think there's evidence to revisit that, the warlock thing, the chosen warlocks. Yeah. We do have, so after the bridge, we have them looking for this stuff. They talk to the celestial head that Jester kept in the haversack, who died completing the mission, the Laughing Hand, keeping the Laughing Hand sealed. So we know that whatever this is killed a bunch of Celestials, ASMRs or whatever they were, angels themselves. I still think Oban is behind the group, letting them. You think Yasha is a descendant? I do not. I'm not sure. That's an interesting question. I don't think she is. She could be. I think she is. I still think that she is a human and she has the ASMR abilities because of her connections with the deities. I think she gained that basically template via what happened when she was in her missing time. But that is interesting. I hadn't thought of that, Snoopy. That's very much a possibility. The question is then, is her whole tribe descendants of these people? Or is just she a descendant of these people? And if she is a descendant, why is, I guess the question would put, what is Oban's, what is Oban going to use her for? Is he going to lead her to a slaughter? Did Oban find out witnessing her as the orphan maker? I think if she is, Oban probably was given the name via the Ukatoa, the worm, the Ukatoa counterpart, that we don't have a name for, except for the laughing hand. I don't think so. I don't think he knew of her tribe to begin with. I think he was probably seeking her out. So if your theory is right, she's a descendant. That's why he's looking for her. Why he's heard of her. I think he was given the name the Orphan Maker and maybe a vision of her from the worm, and she just happened to fall into his lap over there in Rosanna. I think that so yeah. I don't think she is though, and because he hasn't I haven't seen Matt tie that closely to people's backstories yet. The closest we've got is that Caleb trained to be basically a stormtrooper, and stormtroopers are the ones that took out Nott's family. But to have both of them be instrumental to the release of these demigods, I don't think is a thing.
He fails the stealth check. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, Scott.
That's
we had
right.
Arby's for dinner.
So Snoopy was asking if possibly Yasha is a descendant of these dead Celestials.
Possible, but I don't think so.
That was my answer as well. It's an interesting thought.
Because like I think the reason why Yasha is a fallen ASMR, I think, has to do with her name, Orphan Maker.
Yeah. And like I said, I revisited. I think that she's an ASMR more as a template based on what happened versus was like a human with a template.
Yeah.
Because of her deity touched backstory.
Right.
I was also talking about so the worm, that this possibly being a temple to the worm, the Ukatoa counterpart.
Yeah.
And I'm revisiting my 3 chosen warlocks, one of each type. That Oban would be a warlock of this. And I was thinking, so reason why he might be a warlock. When we saw him fight, he cast 2 spells and got the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Which lines up with a warlock spellcasting ability.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of the 3 under each one being a warlock of each of the types. And I was thinking, so Ukatoa, you've got Vandrin replaced by Ford. It's the Pact of the Blade. I think that, still think you can consider Avantika a Pact of the Tome, casting rituals. And I was wondering, could the third, now not that we've seen anything that says he's a warlock or has a familiar, but could the third one be the gentleman? And here's the connection. Here's my connecting pieces.
Yeah.
He sent the Mighty Nine up to find the guy, I forget his name, and recover the things. Okay, there was 4 things to note. There was the Tiamat Bowl. There was the Summer's Dance. There was
the first orb.
The orb. And there was one other thing. And I'm drawing a blank on it now. And I had it earlier today. But anyway, he never mentioned what it was specifically that he needed back. What if, possibly like Vandrin, he was a chosen warlock and abandoned it, and he was trying to get the orbs to keep. And the reason he would have abandoned it was for Marion and Jester. That's why he left her, to get out of this deal with Ukatoa to protect. And he's using the criminal connections to secure those orbs so that Ukatoa can't be released for the sake of his love and his child that he didn't get to meet.
Well, I mean, that puts a whole different kind of spin on the Jester-Ford relationship, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, if that's the case, that's a mind bender, and that's going to be a bomb when it lands.
And then the other thing I was thinking is for the Luxon, and this is going back to the Luxon being the Phoenix. Okay, and I know we kind of was like, well, this is like an older, but what's one common thing of religion? Your religion pops up, you take the old religion, you make their gods the bad guys, and you're the good guy that existed beforehand.
Yeah.
The Luxon. Essek would be one of the warlocks. I think he's probably a little bit higher level than the Mighty Nine, as evidenced by when they said we attack him, and Matt was like, "I'd like to see you try to attack him." Like, he's a high enough level. I think he's a wizard warlock multi-class.
Okay.
And I think he's got 9 levels of warlock.
Hmm.
And here's why: he levitates. So as a 9th level warlock, you can get the Ascendant Step Invocation, which allows you to cast Levitate at will without using a spell slot, without material components.
Okay.
And if he's so new and he's unconsecrated, how is he important enough that the Bright Queen not only seeks his advice, asks his advice, but heeds it? Because he's a chosen warlock of the Luxon.
All right, yeah. Which does potentially put him on collision course with the 9.
Yes.
Because he may be who they are contacting.
True. And also, if he is, and he's got more knowledge of this whole thing than the 9 do, he may know about the cloven crystals. He may have seen it in Forge Blade and be like, okay, I got to keep tabs on these guys. I'll be their liaison.
Yeah. Would also help explain why he just let Yeza go.
Yeah. After supposedly not getting any information until they came.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the past few episodes have, in reflecting on this, have given me more weight to throw behind that chosen warlock theory.
Yeah, I buy that. So yeah, Bo figured out the chime puzzle.
Both figured out that it was musical.
Yes.
Chester figured out
The actual notes, because she's the only one that heard the music.
well, and as referenced the episode before, she's Andy in the Goonies. She gets the musical clues.
Yep. I think this is the last part of the dungeon.
Yes.
Whatever's beyond that door is going to answer a lot of our questions as to whether or not this is leading up to the Tarask. I think certainly if it is the worm that they release instead of the Tarask, worm is stage 1, I think.
If they release the worm, does that push forward to go ahead and release Ukatoa as a countermeasure? And then we get a Godzilla kaiju fight.
Maybe. I can see them definitely grasp. If they grasp at straws, then yeah, that's what they do. But I think the answer to how these things were sealed is up north with the Uthadurnians and that formerly flying city.
Yes, I agree with that.
So I think that's where they're going post haste.
Okay.
After they get out of this, because if they release this thing, they are no longer heroes of the dynasty.
This is true, especially if the Luxon is the Phoenix.
Yeah. So we shall see. Tonight's Liam and Ashley on Talks.
Yep.
We are going to go enjoy that.
Sorry
Have
about
a
the
good night.
technical issues. We'll see you guys next time.
See you guys next week.